In this video, I'm going to cover a supplementary topic. This is a topic that was a prerequisite topic for a pre-calculus course. We're going to be doing polynomial long division. So this is a review in case you don't remember how to do it. So we're going to start with a simple case where we have 9x. Well, let's not start with a simple case first. Let's just think about division in general. Let's say you had 365 and you were dividing that by 11, for example. So we could set this up as a classic long division problem. We could say, hey, this is going to be 365 divided by 11. And then we would ask the question, what do we multiply by 11 to get close to 36? Well, first you would start off and you would say, what can I multiply by 11 to get 3? And the answer is nothing. So then you would say, well, what can I multiply by 11 to get something close to 36? And you'd say, hey, multiply by 3. 3 times 11 is 33. The 3 would actually go in the tens place because this number is actually a 330, and we're actually multiplying 11 times 30 to get 330. We just typically don't write that extra 0. The point is that this 3 cannot go anywhere you wish to put it. It has to go in the tens column because I'm multiplying 3 tens times 11 to get 330. And then we would subtract. We'd get 36 minus 33 is 3. We'd bring down the 5. We would multiply by 3 again. 3 times 11 is 33. We would subtract that result. And ultimately we wind up getting a remainder. And once we get to a remainder, a number that is smaller than the divisor, we write the number as a mixed number. We say 33, the quotient, and 2, the remainder, over the divisor, 11. And we want to remember that this is a mixed number, which is the same as saying 33 plus 2 over 11. So in general, when we do polynomial long division problems, we're going to write them in this form right here. If there is a remainder, if the remainder is non-zero, we're going to say, hey, it's going to be the quotient plus the remainder divided by the divisor. So we're going to write them in that format. But the process is essentially the same. So let's walk over here. I have 9x squared plus a 24x plus 12 being divided by 3x plus 2. And I want to think about the x's as having place values. So this column is the x squared's column. This column is the x's column. And this column is the x to the 0 column, or the constants column. So the way that we do this is we look at the 3x and we look at the leading term here, 9x squared, and we say, what do I multiply by 3x to make it into a 9x squared? Well, I would have to do 3 times 3 to get 9, and x times x to get this x squared. So I'm going to multiply 3x times 3x to get 9x squared. I'm going to multiply by a 3x, so I'm going to put my 3x in the x's column. See, this is the x to the first column. And then we go 3x times 3x is 9x squared. 3x times plus 2 is plus 6x. Notice how the x's are in the x's column. And then we're going to go ahead and subtract. So 9x squared minus 9x squared is 0. 24x minus 6x is 18x. We'll bring down the plus 12. And then we do the same thing again. We say, what can we multiply by 3x to make an 18x? And in this case, I see that I just need to multiply 3x times 6 to get 18x. So I'm going to put plus 6, and now the 6 is in the constants column. I go 6 times 3x is 18x. Plus 6 times plus 2 is plus 12. We do our subtraction, and we see that we get 0. So there's no remainder. So the final answer is just the quotient. We get 3x plus 6 is the result when we divide 3x plus 2 into 9x squared plus 24x plus 12. So now we'll slip to a slightly more difficult example. So here I have 8x cubed minus 16x squared minus 2x minus 3. 8x cubed minus 16x squared minus 2x minus 3 being divided by 4x squared minus 2x. 4x squared minus 2x. So we play the same game again. We say, what do we need to multiply by 4x squared to make an 8x cubed? Well, the 4 will need to be multiplied by 2, and the x squared will need to be multiplied by an x. So I'm going to multiply by 2x, which I'll put in the x's column, and then I'll go 2x times 4x squared is 8x cubed, and then 2x times minus 2x will be minus 4x squared, so the minus 4x squared will go in the x squareds column, parentheses, so that I distribute my subtraction. 8x cubed minus 8x cubed is 0, minus 16x squared minus negative 4x squared is the same as 16 minus 16x squared plus, I have a double negation here, so I get a plus 4x squared. Minus 16 plus 4 is minus 12x squared. Bring down a minus 2x. Do my multiplication again. What do I multiply by 4x squared to get minus 12x squared? And it looks like I would multiply by a minus 3. Minus 3 times 4x squared is minus 12x squared. Minus 3 times negative 2x is plus 6x. I'm doing a subtraction. Minus 12x squared minus negative 12x squared is 0. Minus 2 minus 6 is minus 8x. Bring down my minus 3. And now I look at the degree of this polynomial. This is a linear equation or first degree polynomial term. This is a quadratic divisor, so I see that the degree of the remainder is less than the degree of the divisor. So I'm done doing my division. This will be my remainder. I also see when I look up here, I'm out of placeholders or place values. So this is another indication that it's time to stop. There's nothing more to the right. So my final answer is going to be 2x minus 3 plus my remainder right here, my remainder over my divisor, which is 4x squared minus 2x. And we'll do one more example, just a little bit more difficult. So this one, we're dividing the polynomial 8x cubed plus 2x squared minus 12x to the fourth plus 11 minus 6x by the polynomial negative 2x squared minus 1. And the first thing I want to notice is that these terms are not in descending order. Here's the highest degree term, and then I have a linear term right here that's coming before the constant term. So I'm going to reorder the polynomial into descending order based on the degree of the term. So minus 12x to the fourth, then my plus 8x cubed plus 2x squared minus 6x plus 11, and this is going to be divided by, you need a sound effect, and then you divide it by negative 2x squared minus 1. Same game. What do I multiply by negative 2x squared to make a minus 12x to the fourth? Well, I know I'm going to need to multiply by 6 because negative 2 times 6 is negative 12. And I have an x to the fourth term here, so I'm going to need to multiply this x squared times an x squared to get x to the fourth. So it looks like I'm going to be multiplying by 6x squared, so I'm going to go to the x squared column, and I'm going to write a 6x squared. 6x squared times minus 2x squared is minus 12x to the fourth. 6x squared times minus 1 is minus 6x squared. So I'm going to put the minus 6x squared in the x squareds column, parentheses, and I'm doing a subtraction. Minus 12x to the fourth minus negative 12x to the fourth is 0. 8x cubed minus 0, there's nothing here. There's really a plus 0x cubed thing going on there. So this is just going to be an 8x cubed. 2 minus 6, there's a double negation. Minus makes plus, so I get 2 plus 6 is plus 8x squared. Notice I needed 1, 2, 3 terms, so I'm going to bring down my minus 6, suspecting I'm going to need 1, 2, 3 terms again. Play the same game, look at this term. What do I need to multiply this by to get an 8x cubed? I'm going to need to multiply by a negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 2 will be positive 8. And an x, because x times x squared is x cubed. So I'm going to multiply by a 4x. So it's going to be times, we're going to go plus a 4x. 4x times minus 2x is that's a mistake. I need to multiply it by a negative 4. Minus 4. I need a minus 4 times minus 2 to get a positive 8. And you know that you made a mistake if these don't turn, if the thing you write here isn't exactly the same thing as you wrote here, you've made a mistake and you need to fix it. It's really that straightforward. So we're going to multiply by a minus 4x. So negative 4x times negative 2x squared is positive 8x cubed. Minus 4x times minus 1, we have a negative, times a negative is a positive 4x. I'm going to put the full plus 4x in the x's column. Everything in this column has an x to the first on it. Parentheses, do your subtraction. 8x cubed minus 8x cubed is 0. 8x squared minus nothing is just 8x squared. And then minus 6 minus 4 is minus 10x. And we'll bring down our plus 11. And then we ask the question one more time. What times negative 2 is positive 8 minus 4? And the x squareds already match, so it's just going to be minus 4, which makes sense because I'm in the constants column. So minus 4 times negative 2 is positive 8x squared. Minus 4 times minus 1 is plus 4. So plus 4 goes in the constants column. We're subtracting. 8x squared minus 8x squared is 0. Minus 10x minus 0 is just minus 10x. And 11 minus 4 is 7. The degree of what's left is less than the degree of the divisor, so this is our remainder. So we write our final answer. It's going to be the quotient. 6x squared minus 4x minus 4 plus the remainder minus 10x plus 7 over the divisor minus 2x squared minus 1. And we're done.